But what's interesting is, how did this get Christianized? I mean, that's the question. I mean, how did it get into Christianity? It was unmistakably pagan in its origin. And how did the professing church accept it and began to celebrate it as a religious day? Well, again, history provides the answer. Ever since the time of Constantine, who made Catholicism the state religion, the Roman emperors realized how essential it was to have a unified empire. And they wanted to, in many ways as possible, bring together all the divergent groups. Remember, the Apostle Paul was turning the world upside down. Basically, he was turning everybody right side up. And he went to the extent of the empire. He went to Spain, we know. There's considerable historical evidence. He went as far as Britain. He was all over into, the realm of Asia Minor and that area, all through the southern Europe, Rome, which took it everywhere, and then, of course, over in the Middle East. And so that spread out throughout the earth. And by the time we get to the 4th century, there was almost more Christians than there were pagans. And so the emperor wanted to hold this thing together. And so in any way possible, he tried to unify and have one mind. And so the civil and religious leaders of the Roman Empire saw how important it was, for the sake of unity, to have one religion. And they weren't going to give up all their stuff. So what they did is, they called it Christianity, and they moved in all the pagan holidays. Now, in future times, I'm going to share with you how every piece of the Roman Catholic Church you can trace to an ancient civilization. We're talking about the beads, the candles, the robes, every part of it. Even the orders of the monks, even the orders of the nuns. Everything you can trace back to paganism, even the color of the different robes. All of that is paganism, but it was all pulled in to the Roman domain and then Christianized, christened, and called Christian. A stringent state policy was implemented to force all non-Christians, this is in AD 313, from then on, all non-Christians had to accept the state religion, Christianity. So you can tell it's not born-again Christianity. It was state-funded and state-proctored and state-enforced religion. In fact, one missionary in the 9th century baptized every inhabitant of Poland within a few months' period. Baptized them. Now, how did they do that? Of course, they did the water brush, where they just, take a paintbrush, put water in it, like that. I could get a whole section of you here with one throw. And that they did the whole country that way. And that's how they Christianized Europe, pagan Europe. And so the condition for conversion made it easy for the pagan population of Rome and elsewhere to accept Christianity. Since acceptance of Christianity was made simple and refusal of it was made difficult, the plan resulted in large numbers of heathen population within the empire flocking to the membership of the church. And these people brought all their pagan practices, all their celebrations, and Halloween was just one of them. Just one of many. Well, how did the church deal with this problem? The church realized that to excommunicate these pagans because of their awful stuff would only reduce the membership, so they were unwilling to do that. So the church also learned in past times it was not possible to force people to discard their heathen practices. And so they said, we'll just incorporate them. So there was only one way. It was reasoned that if a pagan practice or festival couldn't be forbidden, then let's Christianize it. And the recently converted pagans were allowed to keep certain of their heathen festivals, Halloween, All Saints' Day, but label it as Christian. Of course, they were asked not to pray to their ancient pagan gods, and they would now use this day to commemorate the death of saints. But by the 800s AD, the Catholic Church had fully taken over All Saints' Day and allowed people to continue the festival that they had celebrated before. They became Christians. And the Mass that was said on that day was called All Hallow Mass. In the evening before, it became known as All Halloween or Halloween. It means hallowed or holy evening. And thus the celebration of Halloween was a survival of an ancient pagan belief, baptized and brought into the church, renamed with spiritual overtones. And when the early Catholic Church was unable to stop pagan practices, it accepted them and gave them a religious frame.